You ever notice how every time a powerful man dies under mysterious circumstances, his files suddenly develop stage 4 invisibility? Yeah. Welcome back to Magaadotes, the one place where national security doesn't mean national secrets for the rich. Today's hearing woo is one for the books. We're talking Jeffrey Epstein, intelligence ties, a suspiciously quiet FBI, and a list of billionaires so long it might need its own private island. And once again, justice seems to be on vacation somewhere warm with no extradition treaty. But before we roll the clip, do me a favor, Patriots. Hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment if you're tired of seeing the truth redacted like it's a CIA intern's diary. Because after this video, we're not just connecting dots. We're drawing the whole map they don't want you to see. And I promise you, what you're about to watch makes equal justice under law sound more like an exclusive membership by invitation-only club.
Director Patel, I watched some of your Senate hearing yesterday when Senator Kennedy asked you, you've seen most of the files, who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these women to besides himself? You replied, according to the transcript, there is no credible information that he trafficked them to anyone else. You also said somewhere in the hearing and here today that the problem is that the case files are constrained by limited search warrants from 2006 to 2007 and that the non-prosecution agreement hamstrung future investigations. Those constraints only apply to Southern District of Florida. They do not apply to Southern District of New York, the location of the 2019 sex trafficking indictment, which produced many things, including a series of FD 302 documents. According to victims who cooperated with the FBI in that investigation, these documents in FBI possession, your possession, detail at least 20 men, including Mr. Jess Staley, CEO of Barclays Bank, who Jeffrey Epstein trafficked victims to, victims including minors, such as Virginia Roberts Giuffre, may she rest in peace. That list also includes at least 19 other individuals, one Hollywood producer worth a few $100 million, one royal prince, one high-profile individual in the music industry, one very prominent banker, one high-profile government official, one high-profile former politician, one owner of a car company in Italy, one rock star, one magician, at least 6 billionaires, including a billionaire from Canada. We know these people exist in the FBI files, the files that you control. I don't know exactly who they are, but the FBI does. Have you launched any investigations into any of these people, and have you seen these 302 documents?
Sir, I have asked my FBI agents to review the entirety of the Epstein files and bring forth any credible information, and we're working with Congress not only to divulge that information and produce it to you, but any investigations that arise from any credible investigation will be brought. There have been no new materials brought to me launching a new indictment.
So is the loophole here, or is it your assertion that these victims aren't credible, that the 302s maybe didn't produce credible statements that rise to a probable cause?
It's not my assertion, sir. It's the assertion of 2 different United States attorneys' offices from 3 separate administrations who investigated those same materials in lifetime.
Are the 302 documents in the FBI's possession?
They reviewed all that, yes, sir.
And so have you reviewed those 302 documents where the victims name the people who victimized them?
If I personally know, but the FBI has.
So how can you sit here and in front of the Senate and say there are no names?
I said
I named one today.
I said we are not in the practice at the Department of Justice and FBI of releasing victims' names. That is not what we do. We are also not in the habit of releasing incredible information. That's not what we do. But multiple authorities have looked at the entirety of what we have.
Okay, I got to move on here. Were you present when the AG had the White House event when she released the binders to the social media influencers?
I was, yes.
So if you're willing to meet with social media influencers who stood to benefit from the sensational and sad stories of these victims, will you meet with the victims as well?
The FBI will meet with anyone who has new information.
Will you personally meet with them?
The FBI and the professionals who are handling the cases will.
Were you instructed that it was important to release the documents to the Oversight Committee on the day of my introduction of the discharge petition to release these files?
I don't know what day that was, so no.
Well, they were released that day, and there were victims' names who weren't redacted because they were in such a rush, and the victims are not happy about that. Have you investigated any of the CIA connections? Have you seen the CIA file on Jeffrey Epstein? And if you wanted to see it, would they show it to you?
Well, I can speak for the FBI, and that's presuming there's a CIA case file, and I've reviewed everything that the interagency, not I, the FBI, that was provided to us.
Would you be willing to look at the CIA file on Jeffrey Epstein?
If there is such a file, and if it has not already been turned over to the FBI will look at any new investigative leads.
Have you made any progress on the pipe bomb investigation January 6th, and have you made any progress on the motive of the Las Vegas shooter?
As to the first, it's an ongoing investigation, and we have made progress. As to the second, sir, I'll have to get back to you.
All right, thank you. I yield back.
Mr. Chairman, I have a unanimous
Gentleman
consent
yields back.
request.
Unanimous consent request from the gentleman from New York.
I ask unanimous consent to introduce an unsigned memorandum from July 7, 2025 that says we did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties with the insignia of the Department of Justice and the FBI.
Without objection.
You know what's wild? Every time someone asks where the truth went, the answer's always, we're still reviewing the files. It's like watching a magic trick, only instead of a rabbit disappearing, it's accountability. Let's just be real here. America doesn't have a justice system anymore. We have a status system. One where if you're rich enough, powerful enough, or useful enough to intelligence agencies, your crimes don't end in handcuffs, they end in classified folders. And let's talk about this word they keep using, credible. They said there's no credible evidence. Well, maybe that's because credibility in Washington is measured by your campaign donations and your dinner guest list. When victims speak, they're not credible. But when billionaires deny it, suddenly that's gospel truth. Funny how that works, huh? And I'm tired of this selective memory game. The FBI can find a grandma who walked through the Capitol in 5 minutes flat, but somehow they can't locate 20 men accused of trafficking minors. They can track your phone for unpaid parking tickets, but lose track of an entire billionaire sex ring? Sure. Totally believable. Must be that limited search warrant thing again. You can almost feel the hesitation in every sentence, like everyone's tiptoeing around a ghost that still makes donations. It's the same old story. When the rich and connected sin, the investigation turns philosophical. Well, what is trafficking, really? But if it's a working-class person, it's book him, print him, ruin his life. And then they wonder why people lose faith in institutions. Because justice in this country isn't blind, she's just looking the other way. You know what hurts the most? It's not even the crimes, it's the silence that follows. The victims who never get a meeting. The unredacted by accident apologies. The system that finds time to host influencers for photo ops but can't find time to sit down with survivors. That's not bureaucracy, that's cruelty with paperwork. And every time someone says, we've made progress, I want to ask for whom? Because progress isn't new talking points. Progress is a new kind of courage, the kind that says no one, not a banker, not a prince, not a politician, is above the law. Look, patriots and I mean real patriots. Loving your country doesn't mean pretending it's perfect. It means holding it accountable when it's not. Because a flag doesn't stand for comfort. It stands for truth. And if we can't demand that truth from the people who swear to protect it, then what are we even protecting anymore? So if you care about this, if you believe that justice should be louder than money, don't scroll past. Share this, talk about it. Because sunlight isn't just a disinfectant, it's a revolution. And until next time, remember here at Magaadotes, we don't do conspiracy theories. We do uncomfortable truths.